Hi, I'm Mark Valianatos. I'm director of LA Plus, which is an urban change think tank. And we're here in Silver Lake, near Sunset Junction today to check out what I call LA's Forbidden City. And by Forbidden City, I mean all the buildings in Los Angeles that we know and love and live in, but that are illegal to build today. And so we're here on a little bit of a mystery and history expedition to check out some old buildings and find out when and how we banned some of LA's most popular housing types and how it's ended up making the city a less affordable place. During the building boom in the 1920s, most of Los Angeles was zoned so you could build a mix of any type of residence you wanted on the same street right next to each other. In the mid-1930s, LA passed two rules that had a big effect on how we build homes in the city. One of them is a requirement you had to have side yards, a front yard, and a backyard for any residential building. And illustrate why, you can look across the street, and that kind of nice cream-colored building with tile roofs, it looks kind of like one structure, but it's actually three different pieces of property, three different apartment buildings, and they're just attached, like you might have in kind of a row house. The planners were like, they didn't want to have attached buildings in LA, because they thought attached buildings led to kind of poverty and tenements like you might have in older East Coast cities at that time. They wanted everyone to have like their yard around them is kind of like a LA dream type of thing. And so by requiring side yards, you banned this type of building. And also at the same time, they required every multifamily building to have one parking spot for each apartment. And so those two changes, parking requirements and yard requirements, really kind of shrunk the amount of your site you could put homes on and led to much different type of architecture. So in the 1920s, there was a huge building boom in Southern California and in LA. And so builders would take a standard lot like this and you could build a bungalow court. And a bungalow court is multiple units around a common courtyard or passageway that's shared open space for the families who live there. And as you can also see, it's covered the whole lot. When the city required one parking space on the property for every apartment and also required side yards of all buildings, it really ended the ability to build delightful bungalow courts like this. But if we look over next door, right next door to this bungalow court, there's another nice old building. And this is a fourplex. So you have 4 units inside this one 2-story structure. And this was kind of the next adaptation of small apartments in LA. And you can see that there's this, they followed the side yard rules, but they made their side yard here just a driveway. And they followed the parking by having, I think there's probably 4 little garages in the back, right? So again, developers adapted to the new rules, but maybe you lose something in the process. You take away the flexibility to choose how you're going to build new homes. So after World War II, LA's population continued to grow. We first had tons of single-family homes being built, but by the late 50s, a lot of that vacant land was gone, and so the place that a lot of people ended up moving into were apartments that we call dingbats today. They're really designed based on the parking rules. So this dingbat here was built in 1963. It has 6 apartments. And a couple years later, the city increased parking requirements again, and it basically ended dingbat construction in LA. Sunset Junction, where we're standing right near, is a popular destination in LA. There's a lot of restaurants and places you can see music. And so it might be the kind of place where we'd want to have more people be able to live. But it's really hard to add new housing here. And one reason is that we're used to be able to build a nice 4-story apartment building like this back in the early 20th century. Over time, we restricted the number of homes that could be on any single piece of property here. So it's not just the indirect restrictions from parking, from yards, it's also we decided to just allow fewer homes. One of the really great things about the older way of regulating buildings in LA was you got really diverse neighborhoods. And also there's more possibility of more homes, and so you have lower costs when there's more supply, and so more different types of people can afford to live in the city. So let's re-legalize this forbidden city that lies inside of Los Angeles, this kind of diverse, low-rise, really cool type of neighborhood that used to supply so much of our homes. Let's bring it back so we can have a diverse, vibrant, and prosperous city into the future.